Hello and welcome back to the X-Ring. I've got a really exciting episode for you today. Today is the launch of the new Zeiss LRP S3, so stick around. So earlier this year, Zeiss, which is synonymous with quality, unbelievable German company that's been in optics longer than any of us alive, came out with the Zeiss LRP S5, and this is a phenomenal scope. It has shot glass, it's made in Germany, and it did everything it needed to do for long-range competition shooting. It is a first focal plane scope, and it was Zeiss's first focal plane scope on the market. What they've done now is they've really looked at what a lot of the competitive shooters in PRS, NRL, rimfire, and centerfire really wanted out of a scope at a more economical price, and introducing the new Zeiss LRP S3. Guys, this is a phenomenal scope. I've actually been running this scope. I actually shot it in competition about 3 weeks ago or so and actually placed third place in a PRS sanctioned match. This has all the features you want at a price that's very affordable. This is the 636/56. So it's a 6-36 power, comes in at $24.99. And they also have the 425/50, which I have zero experience with, that is going to be available for around $21.99. The thing that makes this different than the S5 are a lot of the features that really took feedback from competitive shooters and incorporated it all into one scope for a really good price point. So this is not made in Germany. This is actually made in Japan with Japanese glass, 100% made in Japan, and it is a quality scope, guys. I've had this for close to a month, and everything that it offers is exactly what I'm looking for in a scope. Both of the models feature best-in-class total elevation. The 425/50 comes in at 160 minutes of internal elevation, and the 636/56 comes in at 110 minutes of total elevation. So whether you're using this for centerfire or whether you're using it for rimfire, because in rimfire competition, guys, we are dialing more on our turrets than you're ever going to dial in any other type of discipline of shooting, because those are typically going to be held all the way out to about 400 yards, in some case 500 yards, and we're also utilizing 30, 40, or sometimes 50 minute of angle taper bases. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the back and work our way forwards on this 636/56 and talk about all the features that this S3 is offering. So starting at the eyepiece, what we're going to talk about are the lenses. You're still going to retain all of the T-Star coatings. You're still going to have the Lotutech coating to be able to shed water and dirt, and this does use low ED glass. You do have a rubberized eyepiece here. It is a non-locking eyepiece. What I did, and it does take some force to actually move this, so that's good, so it doesn't inadvertently adjust it. What I did was I put a little blue mark here, and that gives me the ability to know exactly where it's set for me. On the ocular itself, you do have nice indicators here to show what power you're on. Typically when we're shooting, we're not looking at the power, but what I really like is this throw lever. So throw levers are nothing new, but unlike the S5, we don't have a clamp-on system. What you've got is this really cool design where you have 3 different locations to be able to place this throw lever. So once you take the insert out, all you have to do is place your throw lever back in. And even for me on full 36 power, if I am working this bolt at full 36, I am never going to get in the way of my bolt knob. If you're a left-handed shooter, you're probably going to use this insert here, because if you're the type of person that shoots somewhere between 9 power or so, this might obscure the numbers on the turrets, and so it gives you a place to offset that. All right, moving forwards, you do have a full 34mm main tube. We're going to skip this area and come back to that towards the end. The objective here is a 56 millimeter. Unfortunately, you will not be able to use your sunshade from your S5 onto the S3. You're gonna see it actually fits inside of the S3, so this will not mount up. You won't be able to use it, and they will have sunshades available for this at a later date. These should be hitting the retailer somewhere around October the 3rd, today being September the 7th, the initial release of this scope. Okay, so now I wanna address the middle area here. What you have on this is you have a locking windage turret. So when you press this in, it will not allow you to turn it. It also uses a T8 to be able to adjust this. You also have windage stops that are adjustable as well. Now with regards to the elevation turret, you have 10 mils per revolution if you're using the mil scope. This is also going to be offered in the MOA version as well. This is non-locking. It does not have the MPC more pronounced clicks, but it does have a hard stop at 0, which you can set very easily using that same T8 Torx. Now on the left side, you do have your parallax adjustment, which offers decent resistance. We don't want too much on that for the resistance, especially because we do work these quite a bit, especially in rimfire competition for PRS. But you also have a dual illuminated daytime bright illuminated reticle. It also has auto shutoff, which is a nice feature because I can't tell you how many times I put my rifle in the bag, left the illumination on, and then only to find out the next day that I have a dead battery. So it does illuminate the center portion. This has the mil reticle, which has a floating center dot, which is really nice for precision shooting. All right, so one of the features that I am a huge fan of is that daytime bright illumination. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a representation. This is a 700-yard target. It's in a dark section of the woods. No, we don't normally shoot rimfires out to 700, but in centerfire, you absolutely will shoot 700. So we have 5 different degrees of illumination. You guys can see that here on the camera, and then we can just merely keep rotating, and then we're gonna go over to red. So having that daytime illumination, especially in the center, is a huge benefit, not just having little dots at the 1 mil location or 2 mil location. Now on that ZF MRI reticle, I think you're really gonna like it. Yes, it is a Christmas tree reticle, but it's a really light Christmas tree reticle. You can still make out all the marks, but let's go ahead and take a real through the camera view of what those dots look like at the 1/2 mil graduations. But as we zoom in, you're actually going to see the reticle. You're gonna see those 1/2 mil marks at 1/2 mil and 1.5 mils, and you'll also see it on the vertical as well at 1/2 and 1.5. Both of the featured scopes have been tested to 1,500 Gs of multiple exposures of a G-force load. So we know it's gonna be solid and you're gonna have a great return to 0. I've actually shot these on tall target tests on this optic itself, and I've had 0 issues. It tracked perfectly, and you have 90% light transmission on this optic. If you haven't had a chance to check out the ZF MRI reticle, what's really nice is they've incorporated a single dot at the 1/2 mil mark for the first 2 mils. So that makes it really nice. It's not going 2 tenths, 4 tenths, 6 tenths, 8 tenths. Now you have a 1/2 mil dot that's a floating dot, makes it really nice. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna give you a demonstration of hitting targets at, let's say, 100 yards, and then going out to 2, 3, and 4, and you'll see how much we have to rotate these. The 10 mil revolution is super nice because it's very easy to keep track of, and you'll see that typically you're gonna be dialing more than you've ever dealt before when you talk about PRS rimfire. So for those of you that might be new to PRS rimfire or NRL 22X, we dial a whole lot. So this setup actually has 40 minutes of angle on the base. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take some shots at 100 yards, 200, 300, and 400. We'll pretend it's an 8-shot course, shooting 2 rounds each. So to give you an idea here, I'm gonna go ahead and start at 1.7. You know, you would start with everything in your hand, but this just gives you an idea of how much dialing we would be doing on our stages. So here we go. 100, that's an impact. 200 is 6.6. So you guys can see on the camera here, 6.6, easy to read numbers. I'll go to 200 yards. Impact. Impact. Now we're gonna go to 12.4. This is where it's nice because I know I'm at 10, 11, 12.4. I'll go to 300 yards. Need a little more magnification on this. All right, and then we'll go to 400, which is 19.2. So it is very critical that you have a scope that tracks. It's 400 and impact. So that gives you an idea of how much we're dialing. If you don't have a return back to zero, then you've got nothing, regardless of how much the scope costs. I was able to shoot this rifle in one of the hardest rimfire matches I've ever shot last weekend, was able to get a 3rd place. And while that's not great, you can also appreciate that this scope performed very, very well. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to place as high as I did. All in all, I am extremely excited about this scope, especially because there is not a product in the market that I know of that offers all of these features set up for competition right out of the box. It still has the Zeiss limited lifetime warranty and a 5-year no-fault warranty. So I hope you enjoy the Zeiss LRP S3 as much as I have. Like I said, I've had it for close to a month now. I will be shooting the Zeiss LRP S3 at the Gap Grind this year, so look forward to seeing you there. Come by and say hello, and I think you'll like this offering from Zeiss. Good job, guys.